This episode is brought to you by freedadcourse.com. You are always one conversation away from changing your life, and the power of hello is something that I subscribe to every single day, and I'm always saying hello to new people everywhere I go. Increasing your opportunity, increasing your connection, and getting access to the solutions to the problems that you are facing, whether you're on active duty or just beginning your veteran transition or even transitioning out for 20 years. On the other side of hello are the solutions that you're looking for. Again, head on over to freedadcourse.com. Get your 5-episode audio course to create more connection, create more friendships, and get back to living the life that you're trying to design.
Dory 1, this is Fire Team Delta. Dad's coming home. Welcome to the Military Veteran Dad Podcast, where it is our mission to bring every dad home. I am your host, Ben Cloy. I'm a United States Marine veteran, husband, and a father. We will bring authentic conversations to inspire action in your life so we can close the gap between the dad you are today and the dad you want to be tomorrow. This is the Military Veteran Dad Podcast.
Welcome back, Military Veteran Dads. I'm your host, Ben Cloy, and this is Fatherhood Friday. You are in the place to get recharged, to get that energy, to get that focus, to go into the weekend, to be a better dad. You might have noticed I've been bringing a little bit more personality, and I say a little because sometimes I feel like I've gone a little bit overboard, and sometimes I'm just dabbling in with trying to bring some personality to the podcast. I realize, and I have a hard time even admitting it because this podcast has been going for 2.5 years, I've taken this podcast way too seriously. Now, that's not the podcast's fault. That is my fault. I took myself too seriously. I put myself from the very beginning into this professional box of everything that this podcast had to be because I used my work mindset, and at work, you have to be professional. You can't really joke about different things in presentation. It's kind of dry. And more importantly, I was so worried what everybody else would think if I brought some real funny me personality, whatever that means. I'm still kind of figuring that out. But I was so afraid of bringing that. And I was in a podcast coaching call where I get invested in to try to help my ideas for the podcast grow. And the podcast coach that I was working with really gave me this feedback that I need to be more me, and I need to bring one big ingredient to the podcast. That is fun. So I would like to declare that this week, and a few weeks prior, you've been seeing a little bit of it, I'm going to try to sprinkle and bring in maybe some dose a little bit, depending on what comes into my mind. But I want to bring more fun to the podcast. I want you to hear the energy and the excitement and the goofiness in my voice and the way that I'm bringing whatever story, whatever feedback I want to bring. Last week, I opened the podcast episode with me trying to sing Marine Corps cadence that we used to sing in Okinawa. Horribly out of tune. Not really that good. Never was good at it in the Marine Corps. Turns out I'm probably still not good at it, but I had fun doing it. And that is what I want to continue to do more of. So you will be hearing more fun things from me. You will be just seeing more different experimentation with my personality and different jokes and trying to maybe do some dad jokes and just bring more personality. I feel like I've brought personality, but I feel like it's me. Like I don't want to imply that I've bought a different person. I think it's just a little too stuffy. And a lot of that comes from what a lot of military dads suffer from is we take ourselves way too seriously. And it's something that never really gets turned off. And it's like a dimmer switch, except we always leave it in the on position. And we never dim it down in different modes of like when we go home and we try to be fun and relax and playful that our kids and family want, all we can do is be this stuffy, dry guy that forgets how to laugh and smile. I always look back in old different pictures and I'm just like, man, did the Marine Corps just program a smileless face into me that it's the default? And I've gotten good at it being a dad. Like there's times where I'm dancing in the kitchen or I'm doing something goofy or doing something goofy outside and it might be embarrassing for the kids. I've kind of created that as my objective. How can I be outside and just give an example to my kids of doing something ridiculous and not really caring what other people think? Well, my kids are like, oh, Dad. But for me, I'm teaching them to be bold, to go out there, do things that maybe they aren't comfortable with, and not worry about what other people think. Because I am 36 years old, and for most of my life, I have spent that figuring out and worrying about what everybody else thought about me. I am slowly dimming down that worry and focusing on being me, bringing more excitement, bringing more joy, bringing more laughter, and bringing more goofballness to this podcast and to life. And I here declare that I will try to not be as serious. If you would like to take a similar oath, let me know. Let me know where you show up, where you are too serious, and where you need to bring a little bit of goofballness. So today, there isn't a big episode or a big idea. Today, I just want to remind you to stop taking yourself so seriously. Because for me, it tampered a lot of my success, because what I talk about in this podcast a lot is we need to be more of us. And I've worked on that in person, but I hadn't really realized that within this podcast room, in this podcast episode, and these episodes and stories, is I often forgot to bring that version of myself. I would try to dabble in it, but I still would have this like touch it or dibble in with my toe, but not fully put my foot into it. So I, Ben Killoy, declare that I will try to be more of a goofball, take myself less serious, create more amazing impact using the same kind of energy and excitement. And I apologize in the future here for it in advance, some really bad dad jokes. And so the dad joke that I want to lead with you here today is, locally in our community, they're having a hide and seek tournament, but they have a big problem. They're having a hard time finding people. Now, you've had a really bad dad joke to end this episode, so go out there, have a great weekend, enjoy being a dad, be a goofball, do something crazy. Turn that dimmer down on taking yourself so seriously of who you are, and just have fun. And I'll be back again with you on Monday.